We got ourselves Asshole Man. Wait, where's the boy? Where's the boy? Asshole Man. Sticking with the Revendreth Covenant, as I can see. We got ourselves XTP with Eula. We got ourselves Bear God X and Obliv. Yeah, Obliterate. It's your brother Obliv. You guys are kind of related, aren't you? Both of you play Fire Mage. Both of you are named Obliv. Ooh, well, look at those goggles, dude. What? Oh, wait. Did it? I thought someone threw something at you, but I think it was literally your Kyrian steward. And you sent him out. At least you didn't keep the kid around watching you fight. We got a Tarson on the other team with Blaine. We got, what is his name? Rhinium with Milk Drop, and Yandex. His name is Milk Drop. That's actually so good. We got ourselves Ryu taking quite a bit of damage in the open. It does get a summon to Obliv. It's going to be Breath to follow. And Obliv, I think, had himself the Ultra Time pretty early on. Big combustion coming out for Obliv. Trying to he's just trying to fight through the karma. He's actually just trying to fight through karma. Wine does not play good karma. Going to be a pod. Obliv, does he know there's a pod? Does he know there's a pod? Figures out there's a pod. Obliv, take him out. Oh, good. I was going to try to make a joke of he still has pods. He still has AirPods in. He can't hear me. Because he was in a pod. He still is a pod. He can hear me. Oh no, Blaine is going to be up next as a Boomy versus Obliv opening up, and it's just going to go for, oh, I'm swapping the Rumpus, I'm so sorry. With the Root Silence immediately, Blaine trying to go for a bit of an in-card. Is that going to be the big Convoke maybe, potentially? Blaine coming out for Obliv, getting him with a Disarm. Disarm the Mage with an Interrupt, and look like the Convoke, as much damage as it could do, it actually hit the images. Like, a couple Star Charges that flew out, all hit images. For Obliv, that's probably the perfect opportunity to be there. Perfect images, man. Perfect images play. Enough not to take too much damage, enough time to give you an interrupt. And Blaine having to go for a Barskin, trying to deal with Obliv as Fireballs is trying to fly. Is Obliv going to go for a clean sweep? Obliv from Ravencrest is going to try to go for a freeze onto Blaine, who runs into Wall and Bear from G-Pie. Still going to do a bit. Radiant Spark with Fire Blast is actually quite a big portion of damage. Is going to try to take a blink out of it. Obliv does have a Phoenix at the very end. The Phoenix doesn't really do the most amount of damage. It's really good for getting yourself a crit buff. It's just a good instant cast. It's mostly good for PvE. Breath onto Blaine as Obliv trying to drop a big old meteor on his head. And Blaine with that silence at the end. Big pod coming out again. 2 for 2 pods. You know that pod doesn't actually count towards Obliv win. It actually just ends up being a pod that kills Blaine. Wait, Blaine, does he survive it? Fireballs couldn't do it. Blaine gets a second chance. Better not wasted. That pod actually saved you. Obliv has got himself combustion roll. He's like, you know what? I'm making sure you're getting taken out, fam. Pyroblast flying. Breaths. Roaring. Scorches. Burning. It looks like Blaine is actually still going to stay alive. I'm surprised. Interrupt, and that's going to be Obliv taking him out. Obliv with those fire blasts. That's me, boys. That's me when I'm on my Outlaw and I don't have burst and they just got into pod. I'm like, I just used everything. Please. It's a fireballing in PvE style. It's just like, I can't. Majors are so like... Sometimes they have big damies, sometimes they don't. Gonna be an alter time for Obliv, letting the Convoke the Spirits go, and it's gonna be able to alter time back. The last bite does do some damage. It's gonna be a big brutal slashes available for Tarson, as he got himself lots of damage ready, and that's gonna be maybe some setup for Obliv, trying to make that meteor work with that Kyrian. Lots of damage for Obliv. I think going for that Kyrian, by the way, just gives him like more burst opportunities, because if you just go for a couple fire blasts, pyro, fire blast, pyro, without combust, together with a Kyrian ability, Radiant Spark, it just adds that damage. It just doesn't a stack of damage. And Obliv is just gonna mount up, waiting out for the Feral Druid to, I guess, open up. No trick available for Tarson. Obliv has combustion coming up in about 38 seconds. So if you might have to wait that long, Tarson, if he has a pre-wall for that one, he might be a-okay. Gonna be an opener by the Feral. Does Obliv play normal blinks? I think he might. Bash by Tarson. Obliv is just gonna wait. Let those absorbs that he has legendary for. No, the Ring of Frost does not lend a root onto Tarson. At least absorbs a backup. Is usually enough for him to stay quite survivable. Gonna be images available, even further reducing the amount of damage Obliv takes. Fireballs still roaring, but doesn't really have the burst or setup just yet. Tarson did wall this, by the way. He walled something earlier. If Obliv can go for a big combustion setup, there it goes. Meteor coming down. Tarson has nothing for it. Oh my goodness. The combustion came and went. Only 2 people left on team 1. 100% crit. Sub-Rogue and Yandex, the Frost Death Knight, who's still sticking to his guns, playing the Frost with a massive 2-hander. I really do wonder if we'll actually see Frost Death Knights come back for PvP. Because the Obliterate playstyle has been pretty good, but Blizzard did do a couple nerfs in order to make the dual wield and the two-hand playstyle so close to one another in terms of damage output. Very, very close. Gonna be AMS immediately for Yandex, getting the dots up and running onto Obliv, trying to get the Remorseless Winter rolling. And that's gonna be the grippy arm stun onto Obliv. I think he's trying to maximize the range and grip Obliv into the Dragon's airstrike. Sintergosa. There's going to be Obliv getting himself shield back up and running. Looks like the hand wasn't enough with Yandex. Got a couple of grips into Obliv, but I think he might still be able to get a polymorph either way. And looks like the polymorph is going to happen. G-Pie is just going to have to eat it to the face unless the pet gets this random stun. A Radiant Spark to follow as Alter Time is available. Meteor coming down onto Yandex, walking out of it immediately. Going to be Arcane Explosions as Obliv just gives himself just a bit extra damage while not interrupted. That's going to be the Alter Time, keeping him still fresh and rolling. Breath onto Yandex with a Ring of Frost. He still has to see whether it's Pollards, whether it is Rings. Pyro trying to make a play. Going to be a stun by Yandex. Unless Yandex can get some kind of a burst, Obliv's shield just hasn't really moved at all. They just hasn't been able to move the dial with just those triple shield. Legendary. Getting interrupted on the fire with Obliv. Trying to make those obliterates work. Got himself Lichborn, and Obliv is just waiting now for that anti-magic shell with a poly immediately off. Gonna let Yandex catch up on a little bit of heal. Pi is thrown, and it's gonna be Radiant Spark with that Pi. That's gonna be a Fireball, Fire Blast trying to go for a Pyro. Big damage onto Yandex with just the Radiant Spark, as Yandex having to go for a Death Pact. Again, watching Frost DKs, I just don't... I think maybe Blizzard went too much with a two-hand nerf, because I feel like it used to be a really bursty, really choppy damage, like it would really chunk bits of health out of the enemy, and now it's not like that anymore. I wonder if there's maybe like a different change to playstyle that might make it work. You know what I mean? Maybe there's a slight change to playstyle that would work here, but I don't know. Pyro getting chucked out at Yandex. Breath by Obliv. Trinkets out of that stun with a Ring of Frost. Doesn't quite get it. Yandex not frozen. Does have AMS. Does have that second stun onto Obliv. The AMS is up with the extra hand from the Maldraxxus Covenant. Is going to get the interrupt onto Obliv. The extra hand is going to grip him in. At this point, Yandex might just have to maybe go for the biggest setup damage-wise. Got his pet up and running, so might be able to sacrifice the pet for extra health if necessary. The grips are pretty good, getting Obliv back in next to him over and over, but Obliv's Alter Time just keeps him so lively, interrupts him on fire. And that's going to be a Radiant Spark for Obliv. He can at least cast one spell, if not the other. Scorches might be all he needs. And that's going to be a big heal for Yandex as he sacrifices the pet. Huge heal for him. Image is available. Wait, maybe Yandex can someone turn around. Obliv is actually kind of low on health, getting stunned up. And Yandex got the dots rolling into Obliv, but he's not really going to be able to do much from there. He's kind of waiting him out, gripping him in, and that's going to be an opportunity for Obliv to maybe get a blink out. Meteor dropping down into Yandex. Big damage to follow, and a Phoenix finished him off. They did have to burn Combustion for it. Cauterize, as well as Ice Block still available for Obliv, is going to blink out of that stun. Ice Block as the Cauterize comes out. Is he going to try to maybe get a... He's not going to be able to tag Milk. Not going to be able to do much to this rogue. He did drop down Smoke Bomb, did catch himself a reset. And unless Obliv has a human racial for this next go, I don't think there's much he can really do here. Because Milk did catch himself a normal reset. There's still a blind re-stealth. There's a vanish reset. So Obliv might just have to pick up the eyes. Is Milk going to be on top of him when that happens? Shadow Strike and Cheap Shot. Actually, Milk is the one to pick up the eye. Can Milk vanish with the eye up? I know you can vanish with the eye a little bit after. That's going to be all the time for Obliv getting hit with a blind. At least he's going to be able to get all his health back. It looks like Milk is going to get himself a reset either way. I was going to say, because I know you can vanish right after you pick up the eye, but I think if you pick up the eye and you sit there for a second as a rogue, you might not be able to vanish. So I was thinking, wait, vanish out. Still come blind, so I guess it wasn't really all that bad. Obliv got himself the triple shield back up. And not a lot he can really do, except for Breath onto Milk. Does get a trick it out of him. Nova him. Milk's trying to go for the big dammies. Has a vanish if he needs to. But that's really about all. Does have Shadow Meld actually. Vanish comes out, trying to finish Obliv right now. And it looks like it's going to be it. He actually committed a Vanish. I don't know if he really needed to, but maybe to prevent the Meteor taking him out and the Mage actually having a chance. Milk maybe did need to Vanish that and just finish him off. Opening up with Shadow Strikes like that is a little bit sketchy though. Because he did get hit with a Breath into Nova and just put himself in a bad position. I feel like you might just have to open up with a cheap shot into Shadow Strike. Or if you are going to Shadow Strike, you need to be running to the side so you might be able to juke out a Breath. run to the side, then shadow step, cheap shot, or have a shadow step ready, I think. I know it's burning a lot of mobility, but you basically just gotta have an instantaneous dodge of the breath if you want yourself the most uptime on the enemy. It looks like Bear God X is gonna be next. It looks like not a lot of people from Team Obliv and Team Atho really got to play, unless this rogue is about to just go through these people one by one. Bear God is just waiting for the rogue. He has the eyes if he needs to. And the rogue, I think, might just wait for cooldown. I think Bear God might have to pick up the eyes, man. Otherwise, this rogue is just gonna wait until every CD is back up. Trinket available soon. Blind coming up very, very soon. Vanish on a pretty short cooldown too. He might just have to go for it. Proactively looking for the rogue. Because I think the rogue has no qualms of just sitting and waiting. There's no point of being... Oh, maybe he's impatient a little bit. Gonna be cheap shot onto Bear God. He triggers out of it. Barson Thorns available. Gonna be Milk trying to make some damage happen. Cloak shot is available for you. Getting stunned up by Bear God X. Got the boom. Maybe being impatient might have actually played to his strength. Obliv taken... I think Obliv is 4 kills. I think one of them was killed by the Seed. I think it was Rhino. It was killed by the Seed. And Seed technically kills you, not the Mage who killed the Seed. Technically. But that is